this computer. All right, well, hello everyone. This is the Marketing Masterclass with David Henzel, the founder of UpCoach, an exciting coaching delivery platform, let's say, and David can go into better detail about what that means. If you are at this workshop or listening to this recording, we've asked some questions of you, which I'm going to read out now. And then what I'm going to do is ask you, David, to give us an introduction, give us your story, and also speak to perhaps these questions that so many coaches have in the way that you introduce yourself and UpCoach, if you please. So for anybody here or listening who has not seen these questions, I'm going to read them out as I say. Have you spent hundreds of hours watching YouTube videos and reading endless blog posts to try and grow your coaching business? Are you transitioning out of a job into the world of coaching and are unsure how to get your first clients? Are you a successful and well-established coach, but on your second mountain and looking to pivot your niche or gatekeepers? Do you make long lists of to-dos that you keep putting off, leaving you feeling overwhelmed and disconnected? Have you spent lots of time and money on marketing that hasn't worked and has left you feeling deflated? Now, of course, Simon and I speak to those questions every day. But our special guest today is David Henzel, who has set up quite a unique platform to answer those questions. So over to you, David. Why UpCoach and why you, and how do you help people with those questions?
Sure. So I'll give you a little background story on why we started UpCoach, and the background to me. I'm an entrepreneur. I've always been an entrepreneur. I never had a job. Somehow I stumbled into entrepreneurship and I found that this was really my thing. And today I have a portfolio of companies that I'm running. Originally from Germany, moved to Los Angeles in 2009, and I co-founded Max CDN there, a content delivery network, which we sold in 2015, had a very successful exit. And my wife was diagnosed with breast cancer back then. And this was a huge wake-up moment for me where I imagined myself on my deathbed, looking back at my life, thinking, did I really do what I was supposed to do? Did I really have the impact that I wanted to have? Because back then I was just, chasing Benjamins, basically. And this awakening led me to selling Max CDN and focus on something where I can have more impact. And I went through a few iterations on what it is that how I want to make impact. I'm still iterating on it. It's like a never ending thing, but something that was already doing was running my life the same way I run a business. I'm a business nerd, and my wife and I started applying business principles to our personal lives, which worked really great, kind of like having mission, vision, values, roles and responsibilities and all that stuff. And it's worked so well for us that I want to share this with others. And I thought, okay, that's an easy way easy to apply way for me to have impact in other people's lives. And I started recording a course and selling this course under managinghappiness.com. And this course sold, but I had only 7% completion rate on my course. And this was really bugging me because I was doing this more for impact than for making money. Otherwise I could have said, like, whatever they bought, I don't care. But for me, it was really about having impact in people's lives. And so I thought, like, how can I turn this around, really get the content into people's heads? And I switched to cohort-based coaching. Basically some, recorded videos, some homework, and then meeting 8 times 1 hour a week with a cohort of 8 people. And this worked really great. To date, I have a 93% completion rate on this. But it was a lot of work for me because I also have this portfolio of companies that I'm running aside from my passion projects. And so I need something that takes a lot of work off my chest. And also I want some tools to foster positive peer pressure and accountability in this. And so I asked the CTO of one of my companies to build me a group habit tracker because I could not find one in the market. And I want to, if we're together in a cohort, I want to see if you're doing what you're supposed to do or if you're not doing it, so I can apply this positive peer pressure. And so this is where it started. And then we added more and more and more to this software. And it turned out to be a really good platform for coaches. So I thought, but I'm not a coach by trade. I'm a business guy. I've always been coaching people that have been working with or for me, but I didn't have any formal education. And I met Todd Herman. He wrote The Alter Ego Effect, and he sold 3 coaching businesses before. I met him at some entrepreneur dinner, and I thought, like, he's the most well-known, most established coach that I've ever met. So let's record a little video and send it to him, saying like, hey man, I built this coaching thing. What do you think about this? And he responded with, this solves 80% of my business problems. Please take my money, let's become business partners and turn this into a business. And yeah, this is why I'm focusing on upcoach. We call ourselves a transformation platform. This is what we're focusing on. We have lots of tools to help people to actually do the things we want them to do or they want to do. So to keep it a little short, I could go on and on, but this is kind of like why I'm doing upcoach today.
Thank you. And how much research did you do yourself into what was already available for coaches who wanted to publish content for their own courses, workshops, and resources for one-to-one clients? How do you see yourself fitting in the market of what's already available for coaches?
So, I mean, we quote unquote compete with a lot of different softwares that are out there. There's the Mighty Networks, there's the Circle, that is also like, it's more the community aspect. And then there's like the Thinkifics and kind of all these, the course platforms. But something that I could not find was something that has task management in it, habit tracking, and then this transparency kind of being built for cohort-based coaching, which I think is also where a lot of the coaching is heading in the future. Because when you have a cohort, you can really transform people's lives because there's peer learning involved, and you can make it more affordable for people, and you have more time. You can basically impact more people's lives. This is why I'm a huge fan of it. And I did a lot of research. There's this. I'm a product nerd, so there's this concept of understanding the jungle because I'm not a coach by trade. So I had 100+ calls with coaches, asking them what are they currently using, and then giving them a demo of what I've built, and kind of learning from this to really understand the market. So, and we're carving out a new niche of a transformation platform. This is what we.
So if you had to answer this, if you had to answer this question, if you had to finish this sentence, how would it go? If you're a coach trying to build a course, you need to use upcoach if what you really want to do is ...
transform people's lives.
Okay. And if I can
impact the biggest amount of people's lives that you can reach.
Okay. Great. I wonder if, just because we are on a Zoom workshop, please feel free to raise your hand using the raise your hand function, which you'll find if you click on reactions at the bottom of Zoom, you'll see that there's a raise hand thing. So I would like anybody to come forward if they would like to, and share something like a frustration about maybe how they're not transforming enough people's lives, just so that we can maybe use that as a point of discussion as to how upcoach might be able to facilitate in detail the way in which their method as a coach might be more transformative, how it might reach more people. So is there anyone here that is working on something or has been running a program that they feel might affect more people if it was on a platform that was supporting that a bit more? Is there anyone here? I'm thinking about you, Ray, actually, because you've just published a book. So sorry to pick on you, but I wonder if you'd be so kind as to unmute yourself and share with everybody, #promoting Ray Martin's book right now, what your book's all about, and also how you are going about transforming as many people's lives as is possible. Well,
yeah,
presumably, off he goes. Presumably, Ray wrote the book with the intention to transform lots of people's lives. Oh, look, Ray's amazing. He's already got his mic and set
Yeah.
at the ready. Yes, I was just saying you've presumably intended to transform quite a few people's lives. Have you considered how the book might be a course and where you would host it?
Yeah, I mean, considered is the word, because if it, to be really transparent, I've got no experience of designing or producing courses. It terrifies me. I don't know what I'm doing in that area. So at the moment, I'm just allowing people who read this book to find me and come to me and tell me what's emerging for them. Tell me how what resonates with them in the story and what kind of support, if any, that they would like. And most of it's one-to-one coaching that's coming. And so I've thought recently, I really want to work out a way that I can do more, but I don't know what the steps are. Have no hands-on experience. Don't understand a lot of the technologies. So I'm a bit stuck in that way.
If
Oh,
you'd like, I can share with you how I went to, because I'm also not a coach by trade, and I just like, create this content on my system, and then how I went on creating this cohort-based course.
Before you do, David, can I just give Ray the chance to practice saying in a nutshell what the book is all about, and let's say what are the three, because then I think David can really help by using those headlines to illustrate to you, for example, how UpCoach might support you in building a course or something that would take it further. So what is the book about, and what are the, let's say, three takeaways that you would like people to get from it?
Yeah, you're really putting me on the spot here. So this is what I'm doing at the moment, is I'm actually going through and rereading my own manuscript and teasing out what the nuggets of knowledge or teachable points are, if you like. And I've got through 4 chapters and I've got a list of things. But the summary is that I think a lot of people in the world are working, but not on the path that they really want to be on. They're not working in their element or on their true path, their real, where they really belong, for all sorts of reasons. And so this is a book that is primarily aimed at telling a story, my own story, where I made the switch from being an award-winning CEO, which I was good at but didn't enjoy, to being a freelance coach. How I shifted my thinking and my worldview and everything that happened to me in that journey to make me shift in that way over a 14-year period. So it's not a how to do it. It's a story of how I did it, but with a lot of questions embedded for the reader to reflect on for themselves. Like, when did this ever happen to you? Or have you ever been in a situation like this? What would you have done? And things like that. So it's an interactive read, but it is a story rather than a how-to book. And so a course would have to reframe some of the content into more of exercises and, actual structured, directed work than it is currently in the book. Even though in the book I have an appendix with all the questions I asked the reader, and there's about 4 pages of questions in that appendix. So overall, anyone who reads my book is doing it because they want to find their path amidst the noise, chaos, and pressure to conform. That's basically why they're reading it. And Beth, I think, has read the book, so, or at least read some of it, so she can say if I managed to accomplish that or not. I don't know, so yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, that's brilliant. Glad we recorded it for you.
Okay.
So David, I can see David going, yes, nuggets, yes. How does this get transformed, David, into a lovely transformative course?
So what I did with the Managing Happiness, I mean, I had the course already, but going from course to cohort-based coaching, I reached out to 8 friends and said, like, hey guys, are you willing to meet with me once a week and go through some content with me together? And I said, yeah, of course, let's do this. I didn't charge for it, just like a few friends. And then we met, and I didn't have everything prepared. This was also like putting the pressure on me to actually put something together until the next meeting, to kind of like condense the topics that I want to talk about. And with your questions, I think it's already very valuable when you bring together a circle of people and you send them like whatever, 2-3 questions. to reflect on, and then share this with the group on how they answer these questions. Because this is like where the magic of group coaching or cohort-based coaching comes in, because you learn from others. And somebody says like, okay, this is how I'm thinking about this, and I always have so many takeaways from this. I actually do not like. I dropped out of 14 different. Holy cow! We have like some workers here fixing something. So, anyhow, so I dropped out of 14 different schools. I can't deal with authority well, but peer learning works really well. And so if somebody shares something from experience or how they think about this, I can always take a lot away from this. So this is probably the easiest thing, to almost like a book club, that you start with organized book clubs around the topic of your book and bring people together with the author. I think this is something that should be fairly easy, be achievable fairly easy, even if, the book's already out, but if you have like call to action somewhere, if you do a re-release, like, hey, put in your email here, and then we'll invite you to join these circles. I think maybe a very easy way to get this going. And another thing, because the managing happiness work that I put together is also a lot about defining your mission, vision, and values in the most important areas of your life. You as the professional, you as the family person, and you for yourself, mind, body, spirit. And I have a few exercises in there to figure out what you really want out of life, which is kind of what you're saying as well, right? It's like figuring out like what you actually want, not keeping up with the Joneses, not working the job that your parents want you to do, kind of really sitting down like, what do I really want? And a few exercises that I have in there is one is from 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, the funeral exercise. Imagine your own funeral, and people are asking people to write their own eulogy. And maybe from perspective of your daughter, or if this exercise is too morbid for the audience, maybe you can write, you're 90 years old and the New York Times writes an article about you. What do you want it to say? So kind of like exercise like this. I think it's easy to structure, and so I think you're not far away from starting this.
Thanks, David. So just getting really geeky and techie, because I think a lot of people here are probably really interested in the sort of functionalities of UpCoach, or just how UpCoach can inspire any coach to kind of think about how to turn their thing into a course. Maybe could you take us through what's available to you, and sort of why the tech of UpCoach actually makes life so much easier? Maybe you could paint a day in the life of somebody who's using UpCoach, as opposed to a day in the life of a coach who is trying to navigate helping as many people as possible without using the tech, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, since you want to turn this into a podcast, I will not share my screen and go through it, because otherwise this would be maybe a little hard. But to keep it simple, you have a bunch of tools like the group habit tracker or habit tracker, that first of all, you see if people are doing the work or not. We have habit tracker, task management, smart documents, which are like worksheets, and you see if people are filling it out. And if you configure it that way, you always see it as the coach, but if you're in a group of people, you can also configure it that others see what you fill into. For example, going back to you, Ray, how others have answered these questions, so you can kind of transparently see what they are doing or not doing, to get inspired from others. I think that's like one of the key things, that you have analytics about this, and that you can just like really see if people are doing it or not doing it, and kind of also having all tools in one place, from your core software, kind of all the tools that you need. Agendas, I'm a huge fan of agendas, having call agendas, and we at UpCoach we have interactive agendas where you can kind of give an outline, that then other people can come in and also put points in there or interact there. So yeah.
Great. I'm hearing from what you're saying that Ray and anyone else who, for example, has written a book might be missing out on some of the kind of meta quality that he could be gifting to people by way of accountability, inspiration, agendas, data, all of which might come from actually turning a book into a course on a platform that is streamlined in delivering those things. Because all of those 4 things that you've just mentioned, and I'm sure there's many more that the functionality delivers, gives something else other than the words, other than the energy, other than just the generosity of someone like Ray having accounted very eloquently his own journey. You know, so when you buy Ray's idea, you're buying not just the book and the words, but these other things that you are building into the experience for the receiver. So by, you know, we talk about watch, read, listen, do in our community, in the Better, Bolder, Braver community, of which many of you here are part of. And so watch, read, listen, do is a marketing strategy to make sure that we allow people with very different learning tendencies and preferences to experience our work. Because if we produce something that's a watch, those who are more visual might get something out of it. Some people prefer to read and have more time to do so. Some really prefer to listen, and others need a call to action. They need some kind of motivating trigger and invitation for them to actually go and do something in order that they can learn the thing. And I think this conversation speaks to how, as coaches, sometimes we need to think about how our coaching can be repurposed cleverly, not only to meet more people and sell better, but also because, you know, there's lots of layers of it that people might be missing out on if we're only providing it in one format. I'm just wondering if anyone else here would like to, thank you, Ray, share a kind of experience that might speak to any of that, or be working on something at the moment that they're sort of sensing, oh, maybe I possibly do need to repurpose this, and it could be turned into a course, but I just wouldn't know how to start. Anya, great, hi.
Hello there. Yes. I've recently completed my MSc in Applied Positive Psychology and have a dissertation combining self-compassion, polyvagal theory, and self as instrument. And one of the things which I am looking to do is look at it and go, okay, so there's a value here. How do I utilize it and spread these ideas, introduce people to some of these ideas, and in combination with each other in particular, in a way which is accessible for people at different stages. You know, what I'm really thinking of is people who are positive difference makers, and how connecting the way the positive impact they have on themselves influences the positive impact they have on others. And the idea of, you know, I've been lighting up with the idea of cohort based and habit tracking, you know, because a lot of these things are the positive peer pressure to check in with yourself, you know, to establish your value that you want to have a positive impact on people, and being kept lovingly accountable by fellow accountability angels to listen to your body, do the self-compassion work, to recognize and work with what are your triggers and what are your glimmers when it comes to your nervous state. And so I've not come across upcoach before, but just having a quick look now, it is really intriguing as a potential vehicle for creating something which brings relief and knowledge, and then has a ripple effect on others as they then perform their work. I think that's what it's like. To me, what I'm hearing is it's going up the river. You know, yes, you can fish people out when they're drowning quite downstream, but actually creating these systems, creating these platforms to help people further up the river, and helping the people helpers so that they can catch more people in their own streams. Sounds really intriguing.
It's my vision with managing happiness is to do exactly that, to reach more people and help people to help others. So the idea is I want to turn managing happiness into the Toastmasters of personal development. Toastmasters are self-organized public speaking clubs, pretty popular in the US, I think in Europe as well. And because with upcoach, I was able to systematize it so well by having the course, by having the agendas, and by having this entire structure and framework, and also for accountabilities, we have like the normal group or community, and then we can have subgroups for accountability bodies and have like, instructions in there. So it's very easy. It's almost on rails. So somebody that so my idea is somebody goes through the Managing Happiness cohort, and then they do like a very small extra course, and then they can facilitate and become and start their own group cohort, basically. So it's like almost an MLM for good, people go through the cohort and and then learn how it's done. And because it's so streamlined and on rails and all in one platform, it's fairly easy that then they can say, like, okay, I want to help, I often have people like, hey, I just went through the course, I want to do this with my family. Can you just like create a space for me inside of upcoach or inside of Managing Happiness that I can do this with my family? Or somebody who goes through it and takes it to his company and implements it there. So this is like having this ripple effect and like allowing more people to be reached. And what you're saying, like with this accountability bodies and this positive peer pressure, I think this is like really where it's at, because we are social animals, and if we're together with some peers, you do not want to be the one who doesn't pull their weight or doesn't do what they say they will do, so it's just like,
But also, I think, just because I've just completed a cohort-based training with an organization sister to the BBB one, Happy Startup School, and having a small group of buddies, when it's great to encourage others, the loving peer pressure to do things, but also having people who've got your back and understand when life gets in the way and you can't. And for me, the common humanity aspect of self-compassion, I'm trying not to get on my soapbox about the 3 pillars. But I think that is like the aspect of this group work is what I'm hearing is, yes, you don't want to be the one who holds everyone back, but also the common humanity of knowing that when things do happen, other people get it. I think that is hugely important. Again, as you rightly suggest, being social animals, being in these groups to regulate each other's nervous systems when things go well or not so well.
Not go well, yeah. Then you can have the support, of course, from the group. You're not ousted when you're not doing what you're right, if you're not functioning as expected.
I see the irony happening in our community so much that the very people who have gifts to give, and I hope you won't mind me using you as an example, Anya, often are the people who also struggle with actually getting going with their thing, with their gift. And something about the upcoach platform for me is doing what you're describing, which is to actually get people who have something to do something with it. Because as you've said, David, actually articulating the questions that need to be asked so that you can build a course out of your dissertation makes you do just that little inch more work, which for Anya is nothing in comparison to what she's been putting in for the last few years on this dissertation. But all she needs is maybe just one little bit of work, which she doesn't want to hear right now because she's just finished it, to turn it into a course. And it makes it so much more accessible, so much more available for all the people that she wrote it for. So there's that sort of the generosity of the upcoach platform for the people who have these gifts, because it delivers that last piece of work, just transforming it into something that's accessible. And also, can you talk to the marketing that you feel upcoach helps or sort of does for people? What is putting something on upcoach going to do in terms of putting them in front of others? I mean, I can already see you and Anya having a conversation now about happiness, because you've had a rant to me, David, about your wonderful approach to living a happy life. So I can see you two connecting after this anyway. But how does it bring people like you two together with others? And then what does that mean in terms of the power of the bigger system change message that you see upcoach serving?
When you just said this one thing that got an idea that what I want to share with you guys. In UpCoach, we also have a community of coaches. So everybody who signs up for UpCoach joins the community of users. And Todd, my business partner, who's been a coach for, I don't know, 20 some years, who sold multiple coaching businesses, he has a Build It with UpCoach call where users join with him and he shares, how can you really build out your coaching practice better from a delivery standpoint? Because this is like what we focused on mainly with UpCoach. It's like, how do you deliver your content better? How do you transfer more people? So we have not been focusing on like the marketing aspect or, so I'm really focusing on the delivery aspect of the coaching business.
And what's the power of when those people come together to talk about delivery of coaching? What do you think it does for them in terms of motivation to carry on?
I mean, I guess, again, learning from your peers, what are you doing that's working and what somebody else, just like learning from each other. Actually, yeah, Anja, my Anja, Anja, who's here with us, she just posted, we have like these events where you can also join. We're also doing another event because I'm a nerd, as you can see here with my glasses, called Building Blocks, where we ask coaches what kind of other coaching tools they'd like to see, and then we spec them out together on a call, and then we build them. Like every 2 weeks we release a new app. We did last 2 or a Lifeline app for the Lifeline exercise and a Wheel of Life. So also building these other building blocks that people may need in their coaching. I like to talk about my other passion project for a second, if you don't mind, because I think this kind of goes into maybe some struggles that Anja with a Y may have been having. With as you can see here in the corner here, the love not fear thing. I firmly believe that every decision in life you make out of love or out of fear. These are the 2 basic emotions why we do everything that we're doing. And I'm a recovering introvert. I used to be super duper introverted. I was uncomfortable being on a conference call or with a customer, or uncomfortable running a meeting with my own team. And this was really holding me back in life and in business. And I thought, like, and a friend of mine, he was like keynote speaking and networking like a maniac. And I saw how good this was for his business, and I saw how much fun he had. And I thought, like, okay, I want this. Like, how can I get this? So I did Toastmasters twice a week, even though it was like very painful, very, very painful, but just like I kept at it. And I went to 2 networking events per week in LA and talked to everybody and their mother. And it was really uncomfortable, but through this exposure therapy, it got better and better. But the real transformation happened when my yoga teacher said, every decision in life you make out of love or out of fear. And this was something I always knew deep down inside, but when she said it, this was like, okay, wow, now I just like use this as my filter for everything that I'm doing. For example, being here on this masterclass. Before I would have never done this in a million years. Or public speaking, I would have preferred to shoot myself in the face versus standing somewhere on stage. But because I'm always thinking, I used to be full of fear. Do they think what I'm saying is stupid? Do they think I look stupid? Do they think I have a weird German accent? Whatever, right? It was about me, and I was full of fear. So, and then I can't present. But if I switch into the state of love and thinking, hey, what I'm sharing here can help these people in their life and their business, then it becomes all of a sudden super easy, because it's not about me anymore. It's about others, right? So same with selling. I used to hate sales. Always felt like a used car salesman, pushing somebody down somebody else's throat. But we're a startup, so we have to sell or we die. I have to pay my mortgage, etc. So this is what, and I always really disliked it. But if I switch it around and I'm sell out of love because I know what I have here can help them in their life and their business, it becomes super easy to sell. Because if I know it's like, hey, this thing can be good for you, it's like, oh yeah, freaking buy this. It's going to be amazing for you. And you feel where I'm coming from because I'm doing this out of love and not out of fear. So I want to challenge you with what you're doing, with what you've put together. When you get into the state of fear and self-doubt, like, checking in with your emotions. And okay, if this doesn't feel well, I always take a step back and think, like, why does this not feel good? Is it because it's not the right thing? Is it against my values? Is it just wrong? Or is it something that I just have want to get out of my comfort zone, and it's logically actually the right thing to do, and then often can like turn it around and actually do it out of love. Or, well, I could give you like millions of examples. I'll just give you one more. With my wife, she always asked me to do stuff around the house, like, hey, could you build this piece of furniture? Could you hang up this picture frame? And I hate this stuff. Like, I prefer to do my taxes over stuff like this, but I always did it out of fear because I do not want to have conflict with my wife, right? And then when I do this task out of fear, I hate the process. And when you do something out of fear, not with love, then the result is shitty. And then afterwards, I often had a fight with my wife over the bad quality because it was not up to her spec. So nobody was winning, right? But now that I have this love and fear concept, I still sometimes start out of fear, but then I switch to love to make my wife happy or to make our place nicer. And sometimes the task is not that bad. And also those results always like much better, so just kind of like, yeah, want to put this seed into your mind that, kind of always check in if you don't want to do something, take a step back, reevaluate, and possibly can just like switch from a state of fear to a state of love.
Thank you so much, David. Pretty much you've just encompassed the entire raison d'etre for Better, Bolder, Braver. And we know that most people come to this community because what they think they want is marketing tactics. And what we know they need is to feel very proud about what they have to give to the world. And I think you've just, helped us a bit along with that message in what you've just said. So thank you so much. And I also just want to let Simon give a sort of balanced view, given that they did so much work when we were thinking about which platform we use. Because of course the elephant in the room is that we are on Mighty Networks at the moment and not upcoach. And so Simon did a lot of work and in fact published a blog post, which perhaps they can post a link to in the chat, about which coaching platform might you like to choose. And just listening to David talking, Simon, how does it all feel to you, having done all that research? What would you say is one of the most important things, or it's just completely superfluous and a complete waste of money that you have seen yourself when doing all the research into which coaching platform for us, for example?
Well, yeah, it's an interesting one because the thing is, whenever you're comparing tech tools, shall we say, regardless of what it is, like, you could be comparing Zoom and whatever else is available for Zoom. Do you know what I mean? There's loads of different things you can go through to compare features with. And if you're just doing a features check off competition, then you can find the one that's got the most features. But what I very quickly found is that just because someone says we have a course module or we have a course bit doesn't necessarily mean it fits your expectation of what that is. And I think when I came to researching what the platform was going to be best for what we had in our minds, Mighty Networks matched what we had at the time in our heads. It closely matched the vision that we had for the business we wanted to create. Having worked with a lot more coaches since then, I think that there are more tools. Like Mighty Networks have been busy. To be completely candid about it, they've been busy doing a lot of stuff that nobody asked for. Not sure why. We all got a lot of great updates, and I don't know, it's keeping someone busy. But when you actually look at what they've developed, it's fun and it's, sexy, but it really doesn't advance the platform. When you look at other platforms like Circle, for example, they've been putting a lot of effort in, but they don't have built-in courses still. So it's the same price. There's still no built-in courses. It's mad. Anyway, let's not get too detail. What I think is really interesting when I looked at upcoach, I realized this a couple of weeks ago, when months ago I did a live demo call with someone at upcoach months and months back. So we did actually look at it as part of our decision-making process. But for us, it wasn't quite what we had in mind at the time. It felt like a bit too much for what we wanted. And I think actually having worked with a lot of coaches, it really fits with what coaches need. And it gives them, let's say, some of the things that they don't know they need yet, but will be delighted when they find that it has it. And that, I think, is a really fun thing. A lot of these platforms, it's the opposite. You say, oh, yeah, it says it's got a community thing. And then you go to it and you're like, this is just people commenting on blog posts. This isn't a community. This is not great. Like, for example, Thinkific, they shout about the fact they've got a community. You can just comment on blog posts. So that's what they mean by that. You're like, it's not quite there, is it? So I think trying them out and getting a feel for what fits with what you've got in your vision, I think is really important. But yeah, I mean, I'll post the blog post that I made, and you will see upcoaches on it. But yeah, I think it's one of those tools that just seems to do everything.
I just Googled it and found it.
Pardon, sorry?
I just Googled it and found it.
Oh, sweet. There we go. Yeah, there we go. That saves me looking it up. Yeah, so that's the blog post right there. So as you can see, we do have upcoach Rizuku, who we had. I forget the guy's name. What's his name?
Actually, I have not heard about it, so I have the tab open and look into this.
So Rizuku's like it's like one pillar of what upcoach does. And it's like if all you need is just the course bit, then that's what they do. They don't touch anything else. Do you see what I mean? So there's different flavors for different requirements. And I think if you're like starting out in coaching and thinking, right, I've got to build this whole business, you may as well invest in a tool that just does everything you need and have it all in one place. Or if you really love like getting stuff to work and connecting it and trying to make it all work, there's 20 different tools out there you could do that will probably do the same thing, but it can get really, really hectic. But yeah, I mean, I think from our point of view, we weren't looking to do cohort-based programs at the time. We weren't looking to do a lot of the core stuff that
I mean, for community, and you also made the right choice then, because for community, Mighty Networks and Circle are definitely ahead of us in terms of the features that the community part has, right? We're working on improving our forum block, as we call them, the community. But yeah, definitely for your use case, it totally makes sense that you picked Mighty Networks.
And this was like at least a year and a half ago. So, when we looked at this, it was a long time back. So I think there's, that wasn't necessarily meant as like a, throwing shade on your platform, but it was more just.
Oh, no, absolutely. That's totally cool.
On the contrary, I think what Simon's done is very nicely showed how we're doing the opposite. And, I think so much of this is about iterating and being alive to what you need now. And I just want to speak to a really good point that Simon made. So I'm not going to name any names, but there's at least one lovely person here who thought what they needed was to build a community and then realized actually, no, that was a lot of work and not actually what was going to serve them. And so what I'd like to ask you, David, is to what degree do you help educate coaches who don't yet know what they need? So yes, Rizuku is amazing if you know exactly what you need and it's a course, but let's say that Anya wasn't quite sure actually whether she needed a community or a course, or did she want to do group work, or does Ray want to continue to just do one-to-one work as a result of people for whom his book has landed? Or, how does upcoach serve to educate and support people in their own decision making as to how they're supposed to move forward with their thing?
Not good. But I actually, before you said it, I already took a note that, I want to create a 1 week course, maybe, or 2 weeks, like a very short cohort-based thing, so people can enroll on a regular basis to help people getting started and to determine what do they actually need for their coaching business. How should it look, and kind of give some tips on, like, if you want to try out cohort, maybe ask some friends. Or, basically, how can you get started? Because I think that's definitely a huge pain point. Initially, when we built upcoach, we built it with mainly me and Todd in mind, and we kind of had our thing already going, and Todd is like this big coaching business. So initially, we just like built what we wanted, and then like once we built the community, we listened to the community on what they want in terms of features, but they all have a running coaching business already. But it makes total sense to put together a course on like how people get started, and then kind of find the right path. And the pitfalls, for example, community, with the Managing Happiness community, I'm thinking about like hiring somebody who does community management to post more, because I'm juggling a portfolio of companies and this, and I do not always produce enough content to keep this engaging. So there's like also the community for me is like something that I do not really enjoy on managing happiness. And upcoach is totally cool. We have like the whole team and a bunch of people in there that are managing this and like constantly being engaging with them. But for me, it's like the community on managing happiness is more a burden for me almost, you know, so I maybe would have done it differently as well.
Thank you for that. And I just want to say to anyone who is, I think half the people here are in our community and half are not. And one of the things that we knew to be very important from the get-go was to dispel the myth that as a coach doing marketing, it's all about how well you communicate to other people. That's true, but that's only half the work, because the other half is about working out what kind of people you want to surround yourself with and what kind of work you want to do that's going to be nourishing and sustainable. And the whole question as to whether it should be a course or a community or a one-to-one work offering very much speaks to what is going to support you in terms of your energy, your needs, your capacity, your financial goals, where you are geographically. And so the first thing we do on our coaches marketing journey, which is the course that's available in our community, is to try to help people get very clear on what their own needs, limits, boundaries, and values are. And the second is who they'd like to surround themselves with. And you work along until you get to product. And we do what it is that I think, David, you're saying you'd like to also offer, which is we try to help people work out before they start shipping, marketing, exactly what they're trying to build and why, and how it speaks to their values and needs. But I appreciate your honesty in saying that you also would like to help people when they get to your platform, ask some questions first before they jump straight in and try and build a thing that in fact it might turn out is not at all in keeping with what they need.
I mean, we could potentially also talk about like after this call, if we can have some synergy in this, that you come in and run this part, you know.
Oh, that's kind. Yeah, no, we'd love to. And here it is, a live collaboration opportunity between us, based on David being honest and authentic, and us sort of knowing what we do and do well, and have had some people say some nice things about, but also honestly saying it, you know, without doing stuff in collaboration with others who might be gatekeepers for us to people that we can support, then it's pointless. So I think this is a big thumbs up for authenticity, which in fact Beth, who's here today, also was cheerleading this morning. Beth, what was your mantra for the week? Would you like to share that with everybody? No.
Only that I am the most authentic woman in the world is what I meant to be aiming for. And it's been super fun.
Thank you. Sorry for putting you on the spot. We are very much nearly at time, which is amazing. And these masterclasses do go very quickly. Anya with a J, I wonder if you could kindly post a link in the chat and we'll put it in the show notes of this podcast, where people should go if they want to find out more about upcoach, if there are any opportunities for them to trial it. Maybe I think people will all be wondering how much it costs, and unfortunately we haven't got time. Normally we'd ask David to be really candid just because we don't like to hide behind money things, but unfortunately we have run out of time. So if anyone's interested in upcoach, David's in the Better Bolder Braver community where you can reach him if you have any questions, but of course he is also available on LinkedIn, so if you'd like to share a LinkedIn profile post link, that would be great. So yeah, thank you all, and you can of course join Better Bolder Braver to experience more things like this and to hear more stuff from Simon and me, and to meet some people who have been here today and some other amazing coaches on their journey, so that you do not feel alone in building products of your own. David, have you got one nugget of love, not fear, that you want to let everyone have before the end of this masterclass?
Can't think of something that I haven't really said. I could share some more use cases on how I'm using it, but it's really find a way to remind yourself of this. I have, if we meet in person, I've already handed out over 7,000 stickers, you know, love not fear stickers for phones, but like find a way to remind yourself of this mantra, universal life truth, that, you know, find a way to act out of love another fear, and everything will fall in place. Business will be better, networking will be better, life will be better, everything will be better if you figure that out.
Lovely. Thank
Oh
you
yeah, actually,
so
go to
much.
lovenotfear.com and sign up for the community. Community is something I don't like, but you know, we're working on that as well. But yeah.
Thank you. Simon, have you got any final reflections today?
Well, no, I completely agree with what David's saying. I think it's a really interesting and exciting time in your coaching business to be thinking about all this. And yeah, I think we've covered a lot today to get everyone thinking. So that's the key for me. It's get the ideas flowing. So yeah, thanks very much, everybody.
Yes, thank you for being with us live today, and thanks for listening to this as a podcast. And we wish you all love, not fear, and another hopefully lovely afternoon of sunshine. Thank you all so much, and we'll see you soon. Take care.
Thank you all. Bye.
Hi, Lucinda. I'm going to stop the recording now.